I have a very expensive quartz dive watch to show you. You've seen the thumbnail. You know what it is. The Hazard 4 titanium cased, they call it the Heavy Water Diver. Cool name, by the way. I really like that name. I got some good things to say about it, and sorry, not so good things to say about it too. That's kind of how it goes here in the Nut and Fancy Project. I am a completely independent reviewer, not bought and paid for by the watch companies. Nope. My viewers support me. Become a donor. Gives me the funds to go out and purchase watches. I do sell them too. And at this point, I do loan them. And that's where I got this Hazard 4 titanium dive watch. It's a loaner. Has no use on it at all. I have to take care of it. I was given explicit instructions, don't mark it up. Do not go scuba diving with it, nothing fancy. I was like, okay, thanks for the loaner, dude. Not a donor, I know, shocking. He's not a donor. He's a TMP watch fan. He says he's going to join up. Promises, promises. It is a very, very cool watch, though. And by the way, I know what you're looking at. You're looking at this one thinking this is the subject at hand. I wish its lume was this cool. The lume on this one is about a half-hour old, non-tritium, deep blue, Alpha Marine 500. Look at how cool that is. Oh my goodness. I love having these on tabletop when the lights go out. They're just so fun. Fully lumed face. Again, non-tritium though. So it does have to be exposed to a strong light source to last, well, all night really. These will last all night. They will get progressively dimmer. And the hand isn't moving because it's an automatic. I've talked about and have reviewed at this point the probably still sold out deep blue Alpha Marine 500. Some of the coolest dive watches they've ever made. They continue to push the envelope. But anyways, that's deep blue. I'm having it on the table because I want to show you, by way of contrast, the tritium powered Hazard 4 coming in to screen right now on the right. Oh crap. The camera's doing a good job of capturing it too, guys. You might be going, oh my gosh, is that right? Am I seeing that right? Yeah, that is what can be $750 to $900. This one right here, dive watch, and it's tritium powered. They're saying it has Trigolite H3 tubes. I don't really know what the hell those are. I am familiar with Trigolite. T25 and T100 is a nomenclature I'm familiar with, and that's probably what they are. They just renamed them, and I would say these are probably T25s if I'm remembering right. All I know is they're super dim. Yeah, so deep blue. Again, this is not a tritium watch. It's just exposed to light, but it's just kind of a fun comparison. Now here comes a apples to apples comparison. Here comes another deep blue product. It is my EDC piece. It's a newer watch. This is a day-night Commander in stainless steel. It has T100 tubes on it. Let me get it in frame here. There you go. What the camera doesn't do a great job of showing is the resolution because it's kind of blurry. But in real life, these are pretty bright and they're dominating the Hazard 4. So that is the deep blue day-night Commander. I'll put a link below for that if I can. And then here comes an Isobright, also rocking T100 tubes. If I can line it up. Sorry, you're like, where the hell is it? I can't see anything. There, right there. Tritium watches are really hard for me to do live. Usually I do screen and sets. We're just going to go with this. So that's T100 tubes. Take it from me. T100. That's a legit tritium vial. And here we go back to the Hazard 4. You can barely make it out. There you go. You see it right there. So I don't know if you can see it, but there's a pip on the bezel. The hands are right there. Okay, I'm boring you guys. Here we go. Here comes a good part. Ready? Lights coming on. We covered some bad things. That's the lume. Boom. This watch is very cool looking. Well, at least in the daytime. I do have several suggestions for Hazard 4. If you watch this from the Nut and Fancy Project, I deliver this review with love. I love this watch in a lot of different ways. There are some things you need to improve. One are the tubes. We've demonstrated that. I think you should use at least T100, super bright. This is a very expensive watch. You've gone with a quartz movement. You're charging guys a lot of money. I would like to see double tubes on these wide sword hands as well. Can we do that? Make room for it. So that way you don't have like little sticks at night. So you want this to have a commanding presence at night and in the daytime. You have the daytime thing down. I think the Hazard 4 Heavy Water Dive Series, Tritium Tactical Dive, or whatever the hell they're calling it, it looks cool. I mean, this is a tactical looking watch. They've marketed it as such. They got a bunch of muscly guys with tattoos on their website, supposedly Navy SEALs. On the back right here, it says preferred by Special Forces. So they've done a great job marketing it. It has cachet. It has tactical cachet. But damn, boys, give it some lume. And don't tell me, well, it's a tactical watch, so it's got to be dim. No, it doesn't. I mean, this is that ISO bright you saw. So this is that beautiful, beautiful sunburst blue version. Wearing T100 tubes, previously reviewed, polycarbonate case. It dominates Luminox. These T100s dominate it. And congratulations to TMPers who scored this for my review. I've heard from you guys and you say, I love my ISO Bright or Armor Light watches. They're both fantastic. This is a great watch, really is. And it's a really competitive option against this one. And I would ballpark it about half the price, roughly half the price, probably less, if you get a good buy on it. So we need to improve the lume on it, says me. I do have several criticisms for this watch. I mean, I'm laying them out. Independent reviewer. I did not get this from Hazard 4. Thanks to Ron, the TMPer. That's who I got it from. And he has not worn it yet. He was excited about it. Contacted me. He's like, hey, I got a Hazard 4. Would you like to review it? Again, we're waiting for him to join the Patreon Clubhouse. Come on down, bro. Crickets. Hope to see you in comments sometime, Ron. Okay, dude. So that's bad. Let's go into the look zone. And I'm going to start with the face. I'm going to try to go quick because I don't want this to be a 40-minute review. One thing, another criticism, it's minor though, that I wish they had not done is make this kind of big chapter ring. You see the slanted side piece right here? That's a chapter ring. That's where your tritium dials are. They're standing about 80% outside the case for luminosity. That takes up what I call effective case space. That's my own term. That's a nut and fancy term. And what we mean when we say effective case space is the space that the hands have to move without hitting nothing. So it takes up room. What I would have loved for Hazard 4 to do is either steepen this chapter ring up by 50%, enlarge the effective case space, which right now is like 33.5 millimeters. I measured it a little while ago. It's pretty small for a 50 millimeter dive watch. Make the hands bigger. You're already going for a very strong wrist presence watch, tactical watch. That would have improved things, I think. I'm going to show you a competitive option that does that. It's not a major player in dive watches, but I absolutely love the watch. You'll see it. It's peeking out right here. This one right here. Boop, boop. It does it right. So case space is a little bit small. Kind of reminds me of some of the Citizen dive watches that have that stadium effect. And I think that's what Hazard was going for as well. Stadium means it's kind of like a football stadium where it looks, well, like a stadium. So it has a deep, very dramatic, striking face, which they have achieved with a Hazard 4 Heavy Water Diver. Cool name. I do like the name, even though isn't heavy water like, I don't know, contaminated with radiation? Uranium or something like that, I think. Still a cool name, though. I like the name. Give me some more case space. We have military markings on the outside of the case. Well, on the chapter ring here. And then we have a very interesting sandwich dial, which achieves a stencil effect, a military stencil effect. A sandwich dial means you have layers of the face stacked upon each other, maybe glued together. The bottom is white in this version, and then the top is black. I really wish in this version they would have made it gray. That would have made the hands more stark, I think, as it is, and with those very large stencil effect numerals all around the case, which is cool. It looks good, but it creates a lot of visual noise against the white hands. Had they made it gray, white hands, it would have popped more. been even more legible. It is plenty legible as it is, but it's noisy. You got a big 3, got a big 6, big 9, big 12. Minor criticism. Minor. The hands are excellent. They're sword hands. Had we had more effective case space, we could have made them bigger and not so truncated. But they are sword hands, and I love sword hands. I would have preferred it had they painted the whole hand white. Seems like every watch manufacturer, when they go for this effect, they always use the base, leave the base black, like an altimeter on aircraft. Get past it. Come on now, it's like the Bell & Ross font. This is why you do hand modifications, to solve these problems. And there's a lot of problems in the watch industry. A lot of confusion, a lot of copying everybody else. That being said, the hands are mostly white. They do stand out quite well in this version. You can find an FDE version of this watch that is super sick. I think it's even better looking than this one. You can get it with a black face, an FDE face with black hands. Looks fantastic. Excuse me. I've seen a black with orange hands version. It too looks fantastic. Very excited about pretty much most of the colors that this one comes in, including this one. Don't get me wrong, this one's still cool. Classic black and frosted titanium case. Now, do you notice that little hand right there? This is a GMT watch. This, boys and girls, is how you do a GMT fourth hand. So this is a 4-hand watch. GMT tracking another time zone, and it will travel one time around for 24 hours. But look how unobtrusive that is. See that? That is a really nicely executed GMT hand. It's coming under that decal. Sorry about that. I'll spin it out of the way. So it's striped white and black. Again, kind of mimicking an altimeter. So this kind of has some pilot feel to it. That has a little tiny tritium dial or vial on it. I like it. So that's a GMT hand as a watch modifier programmer, as I call it. I wouldn't get rid of. I just leave it in because it's so unobtrusive, and it is there if you want it. Here's your complications. They got a radiation sign. They're bragging about that it's tritium. They're also bragging about that it is titanium over here. See that right here? That's cool. The Hazard 4 logo. I love all of that. I don't like sterile watches. Brag what you got. Brag about it. Brag, 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 brag. Now the date is in positive display. I will give it medium marks for legibility. This is a Ronda 515 quartz movement. It's not automatic movement. Trust me, I'm going to come back to that. And I've worked with 515s a lot. I've worked with all types of Ronda movements in my modifications. They're totally solid. They're great as long as they don't break. And they usually break because of me, something I've done. Like I barely touched the copper coil on the back. If you do that to any Ronda quartz movement, which by the way, that copper coil is completely exposed, you've destroyed it. You're going to have to replace the movement. And so this movement has kind of an inset positive display. That's all I'm saying. So overall, I give the face, out of 5 stars for its initial looks, I'll give it 3.5 to 4 stars in looks. Yeah, there's some improvements. I've identified them. Here's the bezel. It's a 60 click, not a 120 click, which is interesting for a watch of this expense. And there's some movement. See that? It's the movement coming back and forth. That's disappointing. I'll give the movement on this 2.5 to 3 stars. So a little bit disappointed on that. You have a little tritium vial right here at the 12, what is now the 12 o'clock position. And then you have 3-dimensional negative numerals here that are not filled with either enamel or paint. I think that is a miss. They should have done that. It should be filled with white or whatever your color is. Whatever your contrasting color is. In this version, I either would have gone white or black. I could do that as a user, but at the price point we're talking about, I shouldn't have to. Shouldn't have to. I love the knurling on the bezel. I love the entire looks of the case. It's very sick looking. The diameter of this case, by the way, if I haven't said it, I mentioned it briefly, 50 millimeters across, not counting the crown, screw down crown, by the way, 16 millimeters in height, 57 millimeters lug to lug, 24 millimeters in lug spacing, with very strong lug bars, which appear to be removed by a micro Torx driver. I didn't do it. I'm not going to mar it up, but they look plenty strong. And you could swap out your straps on this if you wanted to. 24mm straps are everywhere. I'd be tempted to run this on a NATO. Which, by the way, I forgot to mention. It does, I think, come with a NATO strap. I think it does. I'll dig into the case here before we end Ron's case here. I think it comes with a black NATO. So that's, you know, a little bit extra value. Let's look at this side right here. Screw-in crown. Really cool logo. And it's reminding you, by the way, that it locks. So screw down crown. Let's see if I can find that date position. There it is. So I'm just changing the date down here. And then notice if one direction I go the date and the other hand, or the other direction, I change the GMT function, which is super cool. Case back right here, screw-in case back. Again, reminding us that Special Forces apparently love this watch. There's a protective cover on this in case you're wondering. Titanium, 100% titanium case and back. I love titanium as a case material, for the record. I really, really love it. Bragging about Swiss movement, titanium. Cool logo. And then apparently you have a Special Forces dude with a gas mask. What I would have loved to have is like a bell diver with a deep sea diver dude with an M4 carbine. That's what he should have. You're welcome. Hazard, you can use that. I won't even charge you for it. So in your next versions, have a deep sea diver, like the brass diving belt, and he has a damn M4 carbine down there at the bottom of the ocean. That would be cool. I mean, the more outlandish it is, the funnier it is, the more your customers are going to like it. Now, they brag about the rubber strap here. It's not silicone. 24mm tapering with a very interesting and very effective keeper on it, by the way. There's a tab that locks in there. It really keeps that band on. Well done on that. But they brag about their map texturing on here and how it ventilates the strap. I would say it doesn't do crap to ventilate it. And these rubber straps are sweaty in the summer. Kid you not. They are sweaty. Again, I'd probably run a NATO on it, but they're okay. I've reviewed some rubber strap watches, dive watches. Momentum comes to mind. They're okay. They are comfortable, in some ways more comfortable than silicone. That's your strap though, so it's cool. There's your Hazard 4 logo on the side of the case. And that's your Hazard 4 heavy water dive watch titanium case. Okay, so I've talked about some things I don't like about it. I'm not going to back off on that because I'm going to tell you this watch is expensive. Easily the most expensive quartz watch I've reviewed to date. I don't know if I've said the price. I think it did. $750-ish. We'll call it maybe $700 to around $950 for a quartz watch, a Ronda 515. Another criticism. It should be an automatic. It should be an automatic. I mean, if Deep Blue is doing it, here's a Master 1000 Gen 1. They're putting an NH35A in here, Seiko movement. If they can do it at that price point, why don't you put a Seiko movement in that, bro? I mean, holy crap, man. Is it that hard? Not really. This thing is sick. Look at how beautiful this watch is. This is Abalone Gen 1 Deep Blue. Oh my goodness. The value. So we'll ballpark at $850. How come I don't get an automatic movement? The upside are its looks. It looks fantastic. It looks tactical. It has commanding wrist presence. And let me put it across my ugly wrist, if I can. Taking off my deep. This is what this one looks like, by the way. This is the Deep Blue Day-Night Commander. That's a great looking watch with stainless steel case, stainless steel strap, sword hands. Very steep chapter ring. This is what I'm talking about. See how steep that chapter ring is? So it enlarges the effective case space. Yeah, it has a commanding wrist presence, and I think that's probably the biggest selling point of the Hazard 4. That, and it's very lightweight. We'll call it 3.2 ounces for such an enormous watch. That is a total win. Look at that thing. It is cool looking. And you get the other colors, the FDE, the black and orange, even more so. This is a watch that's going to get you noticed with, I don't want to say tactically minded guys. I'll say outdoors minded guys. They're going to notice this. They'll say something about it. Like, oh, dude, nice watch. And some of them may be Hazard watch guys. And I have talked about the pricing strategy of some watch companies, how it actually gives them more cachet because it is an expensive watch. Right? And because other guys say, well, that's a really expensive watch you got on. I mean, at least for a quartz. And they're like, yeah, it is. Notice they say Swiss movement, not Swiss made. So automatic would have really, better lume and automatic, movement in there. Dude, that would be a total win of a watch. Competitive options. Well, here's that brand I was talking about. This is a diesel watch. I think it's called like a Black Mohawk or something. Look at the cool case back on that. So sick. Some diesel pieces are fantastic. This is hands modded. And Hazard, this is what I'm talking about. Notice how I made those hands stark? They didn't come that way. They're like the same color as the case, or the face of the watch. They're like gray. I was like, no, that ain't gonna work. So I took care of business, man. I made those stark. That's what these should have. Complete white paint. Then I put the seconds hand orange. This has a rotating bezel. Let's rank this bezel, by the way. It's 120 click. 2.5, 3, about the same. But notice this. This is a steep chapter ring I'm talking about. Notice that, how steep that is? And we have a very large effective case space, and Diesel was smart enough to, guess what? Make bigger hands. Because you're coming out with a large watch. I don't like large watches. Well, there are some exceptions, but usually I don't like large watches, can't speak again, that have small hands. I'm like, you're going for a big wrist piece. Let's put some big damn hands on it. Case in point, my daily wear on the other wrist. I'm not kidding you. I actually Schwarzkopfed it today. What a nerd. What a freaking nerd. The Invicta Pro Diver NHM. Look at this sucker. Iridescent stainless steel case on it. Titanium nitride coated. Look at how sick this watch is. Yeah, I did the hands too on this one. I couldn't stand them. Yeah, but you're going for a big wrist presence, just like this watch. And notice when I did those hands, and those hands are big. Notice what, by the way, what Invicta did. Look at the chapter ring. It's basically non-existent. Man, round of applause. Golf clap for Invicta. Invicta is a great watch company. Do not kid yourself. They make some pieces that are out of this world in value. This is one of them, Pro Diver, in this variation. I'll try to find a link and put it below. Oh my gosh, look at that. So we have a very large, effective case space in this. Sword hands. Iridescence. Oh my gosh, not titanium. This is a heavy watch. I'd ballpark this at 10 ounces. This is a heavy watch, but it's so cool that I forget about its weight. Can you believe Nut and Fancy said that? Can you believe it? No, I can't, Nut and Fancy. I think you're lying. No, seriously. I love that watch so much. Another competitive option, all the Deep Blue products. They're going to be, with a coupon code, about half of this one. And they have made some titanium pieces. I'm pointing to that one. I should be pointing to this. Deep Blue has made some titanium pieces, and they sell very quickly. I want to say the T100 left-hand diver. I don't know if I got a chance to review that, but I showed it in some other reviews, and I said, hey, score this watch. Amazing. I'd way prefer that over Hazard 4. But Deep Blue. Just go to Deep Blue's website. I'll have a link below. Surf around. Again, with coupon codes, out of this world value. Oh my goodness. It's fantastic. But if you're going with a Hazard 4, what you're going for is full-on tactical, no holds barred, and you're willing to soak up the cost. By the way, if you do buy one, please come back to the video and say, hey man, I love my Hazard 4 Tritium Tactical Dive Watch. And tell us why. And I bet you it centers around the looks, because the looks are just absolutely off the chart. I'm sorry, I'm longer than 20 minutes. Sorry. But we're having a great time. We always doing the reviews. Always. And I'm seeing in this case there's that extra strap. Damn, son. Ron, did you take it out? I ain't seeing that extra strap. It's supposed to come with a black NATO strap. Here's a case. It looks like a Maxpedition case, like very tactical zip case. I could use this to store my Skittles. That's cool. But I don't store my watches in their individual cases because none of them match up. I just put in them like a 36 or 56 watch case, something like that. Overall, here's what I'm going to say about this watch. There are some distinct drawbacks. I think probably the top ones are that it's a quartz movement at this price. That's kind of crazy. For a $900 watch, we're getting a fairly inexpensive movement. I can buy a 515 quartz movement off eBay for 30 bucks. Maybe less. And then the lume sucks. They need to up the lume on this. Other than that, this watch is cool. And so I'm overall going to say, even in its current form, it's recommended. I mean, they're there aren't many watches around like this. I mean, what was that one brand that I had? Doodle and I reviewed that titanium dive watch years ago. He stole it from me. He has it. It had very small effective case space as well. But it's the only other watch like it I've seen, and it had about the same size. I would prefer this Hazard 4 over that one. This one's cooler, very comfortable to wear, very lightweight, 3.2 ounces, amazing, great legibility, striking wrist presence, GMT function in this version. It is expensive, it is a quartz, but it's still ultra, ultra cool. I'm done.